In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, for another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. So we're here to discuss the issue of what I'm going to call the topic tonight of noise. Now, you might hear some noise in the background because my 7-year-old Labrador Retriever Drake is in the studio with us tonight. It's storming outside. He doesn't like the storm, so you might hear him panting, running back and forth, wanting treats. But we've got company, so he's in the house tonight. So let's talk about this thing called noise. And you're saying, well, Bryce, what do you mean about noise? Well, I'm going to tell you what I mean about noise. In today's world, everybody's trying to communicate a message. Everybody's trying to tell you what to do, and you get information overload. While I've always believed that technology is good, in today's world, technology just seems to have really taken over, like the true legal matrix, to where you just can't escape anything anymore. You can't even take vacations, time off. You try and go to sleep and you can't turn your phone off because you're addicted to the technology or addicted to the noise. And everybody is telling you what to do. And then you get so much information, you're not sure what to do. And I found this to be quite prevalent when I go on social media and I see all these so-called life coaches and experts and blah, blah, blah. And the reality is most of them don't really know what they're doing. That's been my experience. They just don't know what they're doing at all. And so they sit there and they pretend they do. And if you really take a deep look behind their lives, you find that they're not so much the experts they claim to be. They don't walk the talk. They don't live what they lead. And all you're hearing is all of this noise. And I have discovered that, especially in the last, couple weeks, as we have continued to transform our law firm and continue to build out Escape the Legal Matrix. Everybody's just trying to give me all this advice of where to go, what to do, how to handle it, to the point where my head just explodes. It just goes off the deep end, off the charts, and it just gets on my nerves. To where I want to cut my wrist with a pencil eraser. So maybe you're experiencing that in your life. But the truth of the matter is, when it comes down to it, when it really comes down to it, here's the deal. You're ultimately going to have to make the decision of what you do or what you don't do. It's up to you. You can get all the advice in the world from anybody that you want to. You can call every single friend you have. You can read all the self-help books. You can go online. You can Google research. You can do it all. But you know what? Here's the thing. No matter how many people surround you, no matter how many people text you, call you, email you, at the end of the day, you are the one that has to filter through the noise and make the ultimate decision of what you do or what you don't do, what you say, what you don't say. And it can be frustrating at times because you want somebody to give you a concrete answer on everything. And the reality is there is no concrete answer. Life is a variable. From the time that you're born to the time that you die, everything in between is a variable. And there's just so much noise about what to do. And I have found for me that the solution to this problem is to essentially just tune everybody out, sometimes disconnect, just completely pull the plugs on everybody and everything and just be with me. Just be with me. And now I completely understand, like in scripture, why God says, take a day of rest. Because we're pounding the pavement, almost nonstop, almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we're not taking the time to just, take a step back, kind of just submit and listen and seek, really what we need to do, and everybody's telling us what to do. And the problem with that is that what people are telling you to do comes from their internal frame, not your internal frame. They're looking at it from their perspective. And, even in the legal profession, I give advice to people, but it's not based on feelings. It's based on what are the facts of your case? What are the facts of your situation? And how does the law apply to it? What are the strengths and the weaknesses of your case? Whether you're prosecuting the case or defending against a particular case, whether it's criminal or civil. And so I have to do, for me, what I call a self-audit almost every day. And I have to ask the better question of, what should I start doing that I'm not doing? And what should I stop doing? What should I stop doing that I am doing? And what kind of chaos am I causing in my life that I can stop right now today? And what noise can I just get rid of and tune out? I mean, I just find it amazing. When I was growing up, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have any of the stuff. None of it. The most that you had was a telephone, and that's it. And if you didn't see each other in school, you either had to call on the phone, or if you lived in walking distance, you could go see your friends, or you'd have to get a ride from your parents. And when you became a teenager, if you didn't have a car, you could still, see your friends at school, and you could use a telephone, but you did not have the instant access to everybody that we have today. And there was just a lot less noise. There was noise, but not in the amount and volume that there is today. And for you law students or college students or even high school students that are thinking of entering into this thing called the legal matrix, I mean, in today's world, it's just challenging just to be your ages at such a young age because so much is coming at you. There's so much noise coming at you that you really don't know which way to turn. You don't. And this becomes problematic because you begin to rely on other people to such a degree it becomes an addiction to where you can't make any decision unless you've, crank up your phone or your tablet or your iPad or whatever electronic device. We become so electronically device oriented and dependent that it's almost like we have completely surrendered ourselves to the matrix, not just the legal matrix, but to the matrix of decision making. And once you do that, you're no longer an individual. And that's one of the themes. If you've never read the book 1984 by Orwell, let me tell you, everything he wrote decades ago has come true about big government, Orwellian control, or where the government's just in charge of everything, the way you think, what you buy, what you do. And it's downright scary. And in the book, it's just all this noise that comes at you is controlled by the government to where there is no more freedom. And that becomes the problem when there's so much noise. It's like you hear the term called the fog of war. I mean, there is this thing in combat where, like, for example, when artillery shells are going off and live fire and, people are screaming and shouting and people are wounded and getting killed, and you're trying to, determine what decisions to make, and you're the leader, and there's just all this noise, and there's this thing they call the fog of war, where there's some decisions which may keep you alive, and some decisions which may get you and your people killed. And there's just so much noise going on around you, you have to keep a clear head. And so, in the corporate world, in the legal world, in your private life, you have this so-called fog of war that you have to filter so that you can make decisions about what you do or what you don't do or what you say or what you don't say. And it ultimately results in the actions that you take or you don't take. But this thing of noise is something that you lawyers and you law students and you college students, you high school students, you have to learn to deal with it. You have to learn to filter out the noise, because not all of the noise is beneficial to you. Not all of the noise is good for you. There are some noises that, like warning systems, like your alarm systems in your home, your fire detectors, your carbon monoxide detectors. Those are the good kind of noise. They warn you of impending danger. Sometimes your internal instincts warn you of impending danger. Okay, but the constant noise I'm talking about is everybody coming at you, trying to control what you do, what you buy, what you say, and it's just overload. I mean, think about for a moment if we just eradicated the internet, if we eradicated all of the cell phones, just did away with them, all of them. Think about how different the world would be, about how different lives would be. Because even I see people when they go out to eat dinner, they're at the tables on their phones. There's just no more connection. They've allowed the noise to invade their lives. And this happens to lawyers all the time. Lawyers become so distracted, our heads are exploding. I mean, between the judges and the court staff and the clients and the employees and the deadlines and all of these other things in this, what I call the legal matrix, it pulls you in 50 different directions. And this is why it is critical that you must develop this skill set of tuning out the noise that is not beneficial for you, the noise that distracts you, the noise that takes you off your sole purpose, the noise that can lead you to self-destruction. And I'll be, I practicing where, when I go to bed at night, I turn off my phone. I don't even watch TV anymore. If I want the news and I'm looking for something, I might check, a little bit during the day, just to kind of see what's going on, keep kind of informed of current events and that sort of thing. But other than that, no. And I start drawing lines in the sand of what I'm going to do or what I'm not going to do. And I start tuning out the noise. I start listening to, focus music. This term you hear a lot called multitasking is the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. It's just stupid. I hate that term multitasking. I do. Sometimes I find myself using it and I have to autocorrect. I hate that term because you know what that means? It means you operate in chaos. And a lot of times when you multitask, you're not really being productive. It just means you don't have the proper amount of people, or you're just all over the place. You're just everywhere because you're allowing the noise to come in and distract you and take you from one task to the next, to the next, to the next, until really at the end of the day, you're mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically spent. You're just exhausted. Because of why? Because of the noise. The noise. That's why I get up early in the morning. I start my day usually between 2 and 3 a.m. And a couple days a week, I start my workout program. I do it for an hour to hour and a half. And it's complete silence, get showered up, and then I start doing other things. And I'm going to tell you something. By the time 7 a.m. hits, I've gotten more done in those few hours than most people will get in a full day. Because it's completely silent. There's not distractions. There's not all this noise. But I'm going to tell you something. After a certain hour, like 6, 7 a.m. in the morning, the noise starts happening. Phones start buzzing, emails, text messages, all this stuff. People going into anxiety, panic attacks, all this stuff. And it's just crazy town. It's crazy town noise, which is what you need to get away from. So you have to ask these better questions. Where in your world is there so much noise that you can't be productive, that you can't be the best version of who you need to be in body, being balanced, business, and what? Fulfillment. Because how can you be fulfilled if you're constantly distracted and pulled off your sole purpose and pulled off path because of all the noise? You must learn to tune out the noise. You must learn how to detach, to become uncoupled from the noise. If you don't develop those skill sets, the noise will consume you to where your entire life That's all it'll be. It'll just be noise. And you'll never achieve anything worthwhile in your life. The only thing you'll control is maybe the volume of the noise. So again, I want you to ask that better question. Where in your world are you allowing all this noise to come in to where you have no clarity and you have no focus because you need to simplify things? That's what I'm doing. This is why I want students to come in as part of what we call our junior partnership program here with us, to actually deal in reality, to open, own, operate, and lead a law firm to do exactly what I do. So you understand what you're getting into when you decide to take the step into this Roman Colosseum of what we call the legal profession, that I call the legal matrix, because the legal matrix will try and just send so much noise your way to keep you a slave, just like in Orwell's book, 1984. So don't be like that. Don't be Orwellian in nature. Don't allow the noise to take you over mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I mean, God warns us of that. That's why he says, take a day of rest. And now I understand, now I understand. Now I completely understand. Because if you take just 1 day a week and you tune the world out and you tune everybody out and you just focus on you and focus on God, I'm going to tell you something. It makes a radical difference in your life. It's hard to do. It's a very difficult thing to do. But here's the more difficult thing. Spending 10, 20, 30, 40 years of your life allowing the noise to overcome you to where you just become a disheveled version of yourself. So if you want to have that conversation with me, you know where to reach out. You can email me at brycedenier@gmail.com or send me a direct message on LinkedIn or Instagram, or my email, again, brycedenier@gmail.com, and have that conversation with me. So if you're looking to open, own, operate, and lead a law firm, to do it the Warriors way, to do it the right way, and develop the clear skill sets to be a leader, then you need to reach out to me and have that conversation. Okay, this is Bryce Denier with my favorite Labrador Retriever, Drake, who's here with me in the studio. And listen, seriously, love and light. And we'll see you next episode. So this is Bryce Denier, again with my favorite Labrador Retriever, Drake. And we are out of here.